pass blocking grade in 2021, back when he was just a baby. 2021 that year was second only to Notre Dame's Joe Alt. Okay, in 2021. Mm-hmm. Second best pass blocking grade only to Joe Alt. Reason that's of interest to you? Joe Alt just went number 5 to the Chargers in last spring's draft.
Hello.
So they were two babies. Joe Alt grew up to be a top 5 pick. Last year, Wyatt had the second best pass blocking grade among FBS tackles. Second best grade last year in tackles. Okay, Hop? Mm-hmm. He was behind only Patrick Paul from Houston. Patrick Paul, West Virginia faced them. He's now with the Dolphins. He went number 55 in the draft to the Dolphins. So, again, those are numbers. I say this a lot. Sometimes the numbers just back up what you already know or what you see. Those are some pretty good pass blocking numbers for Wyatt, both when he was a baby and last year, as he's now grown up to be one of the best players in college football, never mind one of the best offensive linemen and tackles that you'll see. Couple Penn State numbers for you.
Sure.
Couple Penn State numbers. Quarterback Drew Aller, listed number 13 best quarterback in the country. Here's two stats under his bio that jumped out to me and are applicable as you get into the preview for Penn State. Last year, Penn State, this again, all according to PFF, they had Penn State's pass blocking grade outside the top 50 nationally, and they had its receiving grade outside the top 80 nationally. We're going to hear from Steve Jones coming up a little bit, Penn State's play-by-play. He says he doesn't have any concerns about any area of Penn State's team. Part of why they're ranked anywhere from, 6 to 9. A lot of people really high on them. Expanded playoff. Most think Penn State's got a great chance to get into the playoff. But those two numbers are interesting. How much better has Penn State gotten in pass blocking? That's going to be important. Conversely, how much better is West Virginia's pass rush? Going against then, the other part of that, the receiving group for Penn State. Has that taken a big step forward from outside the top 80 last year? So I found that interesting under Drew Aller's numbers with pass blocking and receiving. Their safety, one of their safeties, Kevin Winston, Pro Football Focus has him as the 28th best player in college football. He had just a 2% missed tackle rate in 2023. That's second among all safeties. So they have a bunch of dudes on offense and defense, especially defensively. We'll talk about them more next week. But Kevin Winston's a name you're going to hear a bunch as we get ready for Penn State. He was really, really good last year, and he returns.
So what do you think? Do you agree with Steve that there's nothing to worry about with this Penn State team?
Well, it's all in context because it's rare that you have teams that you don't have any question marks or concerns about. Penn State's probably one. I mean, if I'm Penn State, I'm probably looking at that. You feel like your offensive line plugged guys in, even though you lost the good left tackle to the NFL. You feel like you've got they're kind of a West Virginia situation on the offensive line, right? They have guys that have played a bunch of snaps, just maybe haven't started the game. So they're going to plug experienced guys in at the line. They feel better at the receiver position. Julian Fleming comes over from Ohio State. It's a proven pass catcher at this level. So they think they've addressed those two areas. And I think beyond that, what questions would you have? They don't have him at running back. They don't have him at quarterback. They don't have him on any part of the defense. Great linebackers, great backfield, and they think that defensive line's really good. So I understand where if you're the play-by-play guy for Penn State, you'd probably say that. Don't have a lot of concerns.
But, I mean, getting Julian Fleming was huge, but he was, what's he got in total? He has 79 catches in 4 years. So, but is he a dude? I mean, is he, because if they're thin anywhere offensively, it's at that wide receiver position. Fair? And maybe thin isn't the right word, but if there's a question mark anywhere, it's at that receiver position.
Maybe. This is also a team that passed for 300-plus yards against West Virginia last year and 3 touchdowns. So that's all relative. Are you talking about thin as compared to everybody? Or are you talking about thin as they go up against the two teams that they're primarily concerned about beating in Ohio State and Michigan? So that's a question for me. I mean, I would say this to the Julian Fleming part. West Virginia fans, and us included, think Jaden Bray is going to make a difference.
Right.
We think Jaden Bray can come in and make an immediate impact. He had 30 catches last year. Right? That's not knocking your socks off. That's not a Biletnikoff Award winner. But we've seen some things in practice where you went, I'll tell you what, Jaden Bray might be a dude.
When you read what others are writing about Penn State, what is the one point that keeps coming up? Oh, this year they got to stretch the field. They got to have more big plays. And when you first start to look at the stats, you go, why is that? They average 36 points a game. It's because, as you said, Brad, the two games they care about, Ohio State and Michigan, which they lost last year. They lost to Ohio State, they scored 12 points. Lost to Michigan, they scored 15 points. So that's what I think they're talking about. is, well, you couldn't stretch the field. And you look at the stats in that game. I think in one of the games, they only completed 11 passes, and the average reception was like 9 yards. The other one was like 13 yards. So they did not have big plays in the games that matter to them.
There's no question. And so, again, I think with a Penn State, it's two different discussions. It's about the rest of their schedule, and it's about those two games. The rest of their schedule, you can see what they did, and they did this to West Virginia. They're looking at that defense that was top 3 in every category you can have and just said, well, we're not going to get crazy offensively. We're not going to make any mistakes. Aller had 25 touchdowns and 2 picks. That's an unbelievable ratio right there.
Bizarre.
And they had 2 great running backs. So they just said, screw all of you. I mean, you want to see big, flashy plays? Don't care. We're going to try and win games, and we're going to let our defense take care of it. And I think, and we'll talk more this week, so to me, that's one of the very biggest questions. You bring in a new offensive coordinator that's known for a lot of motion and a lot of different plays and a lot of creativity. Do they open that playbook, or do they try and stay more conservative and say we're not going to make mistakes? It's a storyline we're going to hit a lot next week and on game day, because I think that's a fascinating study into what will Penn State try and do, especially in the first game, with the shiny new toy of Andy Kotelicki, who's very, very good. We've watched him at Kansas for years with a really fun offense to watch. Do they try and mix some of that in, or do they stay vanilla and let that defense do work? If the defense can do work against what is a much improved West Virginia offense from what Penn State faced last year.
Yeah. We interrupt Brad's numbers and nuggets for this announcement. I think you guys will find this interesting, but since we're not live on the air, you'll already know this by the time we start. If you would, Producer Austin, Pat McAfee has announced that he will host his show next Friday on the WVU campus in preparation for the Mountaineers and the Nittany Lions.
Where's he going to be?
I think on campus somewhere. I didn't listen to this yet, but I think wouldn't be surprised if he's probably near the mountain lair or something like that. You know, I think Pat likes to draw a crowd.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he's going to go out to an open field anywhere.
Well, that'll be fun. He'll be cranked up.
Yeah.
He'll be cranked up. That's neat. That's fun.
Yeah.
That adds to the chaotic atmosphere of next week.
So what's interesting, if you want to jump into the game behind the game, so Fox has the game, obviously, right? So what better way for ESPN to steal away some of the attention? They come in and they carpet bomb Fox on Friday. They'll get all the attention because Pat's here, da-da-da-da-da-da. They'll steal that. They'll get a little bit of that Penn State, West Virginia, even though they're not going to do the game.
Or it's ESPN's attempt because they screwed up by not bringing game day here, and Fox scooped them on the game day part of it, and then they said, well, we got to do something, and our most popular show is a West Virginia grad. We better send him in.
Where is game day that day? Any idea?
The light blue lot.
No,
So-
he's asking where's
ESPN?
Oh,
show
where's
is.
ESPN's game day? Oh, I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
Don't
I
care.
do know
Don't care.
this.
They're not here.
I do know
All
this.
due
I think
respect to them,
I think there was some comprehension issues with a release that WVU put out earlier this week in regard to the Fox game day and availability and things like that. So some people misread that. They're going to open the gates to go in to watch Fox's, what do they call theirs?
Big noon kickoff.
Big noon kickoff. 9 a.m. is when they'll open that up for people to go in.
Okay.
The gates, as per usual, the lots will open up at 7 a.m. I think some people misconstrued that and thought that the lots weren't going to open up until 9. But no, it's standard, regular, 7 a.m. for the lots. 9 a.m. is the time that you can mill over and go to Fox's Big Noon kickoff.
What time's our deal open on Saturday?
Our food?
Yeah.
Senator, do you know what time we open?
Efforting.
7, 8, something like that.
Whatever it takes.
Everybody else has their time set. We're a little more.
Well, we have them set. I mean, we know
do?
that we're going to be open up on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So by the time Saturday gets here, it'll be passé. Like we're probably like 7-Eleven. We're just open all the time.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I mean, the
kind of like
important node's open Wednesday night. After that, it's open.
Kind of like a Go-Mart. Like
it just opens combined.
Why do you need a lock on the front door? We don't close.
Exactly.
We don't need a lock. We're open. No, I'll get that. We'll figure that out.
Okay.
Sure, producer Dave will have something like that. We got big announcements coming up on that, by the way. I've got the information a little bit later on in the show as to how folks can order their barbecue in advance, take it to wherever they want it to be, take it to their tailgate, take it back to their house, take it back to wherever. This is the hell of a deal.
And do yourself a favor. Instead of like, I got to pack sandwiches, I got to get the brisket. Just get it. Just trust
Right?
us.
We can even do better than just
do
the
better
brisket.
than that.
We'll do better than
It's
that.
available for pickup Friday night
Yeah.
and Saturday.
Yeah.
So if you just want to take it on Friday, you can take it to wherever you want to, keep it whatever, and then warm it back up, or you could take it Saturday, whatever
Or
works for
Saturday, you can come by and have a nice cold beer while you're
You could do that
picking up.
because the beer is being debuted on Wednesday.
Yeah, what beer will be available?
Hold on, just hold on. Just hold on over there. We're still doing
We'll
something.
announce that next week.
All right.
We'll announce that next week.
But there will be a new beer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting.
It'll be there.
It'll be there.
All right, we still going?
Yeah, go
Can we
ahead.
return to regular scheduled programming?
Mhm.
That's my football stuff.
Did you have a couple of nuggets, Junior?
Well, I only had two things. I'm 50% done. I had one other thing, but I can wait.
No,
I'll
go
tell-
ahead. Ray,
Well, I wonder how Penn State is viewing this, because I was looking at their schedule last night, and like Brad said, they had two games that matter, right? Michigan and Ohio State, and they're not playing Michigan this year. So look at their schedule. They start on the road against West Virginia, and they're probably thinking, I mean, I'm talking about Nittany Lion Nation. They're probably thinking, okay, got to go down there. It's a pain. Go down there, beat them, take care of business. Then they're home for a month.
huh?
They have Bowling Green, Kent State, Illinois, UCLA, all at home. And not until October 12th, Brad, they go to USC. So they're probably thinking, you know what they're thinking. They're thinking, okay, 5-0, go take care of business at USC. Then you play Ohio State on November 2nd, and you get Ohio State at home. I mean, I would imagine they're talking themselves into a big season.
Sure.
Because of the talent returning and because of the schedule, which is pretty favorable for them.
Sure.
Agreed?
I totally agree. Totally agree. That's why it's West Virginia's job to make week one as uncomfortable as you possibly can. Now listen, some of the numbers are starting to side with West Virginia on this, at least in terms of where the line is going. It was like 14 back in the spring if you really got on it early. It's steadily dropping down. It's been in that 10.5 range for quite a while. There's been another downshift this week. Now it's down, if you look at DraftKings, just 8.5.
Really?
Penn State favored by just 8.5.
Why do you
right
think
Really?
it's moving like that?
Heavy
Well,
money's going to
market
West Virginia.
influence.
The money was coming in
There's
on-
some market influence that's come in on the West Virginia
Right,
side, getting those double digits. Now, it may pop back up here to double digits as we get a little closer next week. It's just been interesting to watch that line movement throughout some time here.
They get Ohio State at home. They get Washington at home. Maryland. But, I mean, it's a workable schedule for a team that certainly is setting its sights on playoffs and more.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it bizarre how you just kind of threw out there when you went through their schedule? Then they go to USC. Did you say USC? Is that where they're going?
Yes,
They're going to go to USC. Did you say they have UCLA at home?
UCLA at home.
It says how bizarre is this? I mean, now it's for real. Now it's for real.
I mean,
UCLA at
they
home.
won't know where they are. They will not. They will have no idea where they are. They better fly. They better first fly north, and then come across, so it will feel right to them.
Who, UCLA?
Yeah, UCLA.
It'll be weird.
It's just a longer flight to Washington State. Don't worry.
So 18 teams this year in the Big 10, 16 in the Big 12. And I do think you're going to hear a lot of conversation once this thing really starts happening. When you start posting some new, like when Fox says Penn State, UCLA is the noon game in State College, their big noon game, and their body clock is 9 a.m., you're going to just hear a tremendous amount of conversation about that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be.
We're done with the over-under. Should have done an over-under nationally on body clock mentions. Or just
show?
even on this show, because we'll mention it. When West Virginia goes to Arizona, we'll have body clock talks.
We'll probably spend a whole show on it. Get an expert on. Talk about that.
Got serious
All right,
situation.
what else you got?
I got serious
That's
situation.
it. I get. That's it.
You're out?
Well, I mean, I have other things, but I did stats. I was working on stats yesterday, and then I mean, look at them. It's just embarrassing the way I wrote them down. But I thought I'm embarrassed to do them because your stats are so much better that mine are so macro. I'm not even going to mention them.
I got a problem.
What? What happened?
My keyboard stopped working, and I think I know why. And now the problem's going to become...
I'll go plug it in. Just keep.
Do you know where it goes?
I think I do.
It's a good thing we do heavy editing to this podcast. Can we just go back in and edit this out?
I tell you what, he went in with a heavy... By the way, while you're doing that, what's the story of the new hat?
Okay.
That's brand new. I've never seen that hat before.
Prototype.
By the way, he's down here looking at every single one of these units.